rolling. Hello, YouTube, internet, iTunes, people of that sort. Doing things a little bit differently here on Minovsky Radio, having things split up so we have more stuff to talk about, or more time at least. And today we'll be talking about the gaming aspect of Gundam, and today with me I've got Nick84 The Rock, one of the more prominent Gundam game YouTube peoples. And I believe you've played the next installment that I believe is yet to come out, at least in English, of the Dynasty Warrior Gundam games.
Yes, that is correct.
Overall, what are your kind of base thoughts? I remember you'd said you'd filmed a review for it, but, how does it compare?
Well, this one's difficult. I don't know if it's because they're changing the aspect, I don't know if you know, but the name for this one isn't actually Dynasty Warriors Gundam 4, it's Shin Gundam Musou, or True Gundam Musou.
Okay, so it's going towards a Musou as opposed to the more English version, I suppose.
Well, I mean, it's always a Musou, but I feel like they're rebooting the series, or trying to go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
This one was both, I want to say, the same and different, but for me it was more different in a negative sense. While I still had a lot of fun playing it, some of the new aspects of the game, especially in terms of grinding, were really off-putting this time around. So in terms of I guess the best way I can describe it is I probably logged in at least over 600 hours in the Third Dynasty Warriors Gundam game, which is both impressive and embarrassing to say. And I had a blast doing it, really. Every time, especially online, playing with friends and trying to get the best blueprint you could.
Yeah.
It didn't really get boring. It sometimes maybe got a little tedious, but it was never boring. It never got to the point where I didn't want to play. With this one, it actually, I was surprised that at times I found myself wishing I was done with it. In terms of the grind,
mm-hmm.
the actual game itself is pretty well done, in most cases, but they did some new things, which I think they're just experimenting with as because the new game in English is called Rebirth or Reborn. I think it's Reborn, right? The new English name they came up for it.
That sounds somewhere in there, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think it's Reborn. And I think what they were trying to say with that is that we're gonna do some new stuff, and we don't know if it's gonna work or not, so yeah, let us know if it does. And some of the stuff was good. I liked what they did. As far as introducing new characters, new mobile suits, the most by far in any of the games we've gotten yet. And then at the same time, when they introduced those suits, I feel like a lot of the suits were a bit of a letdown, to be honest. Especially in the Seed Destiny category. I feel like even though I'm not even really a big fan, this might sound like I'm defending the series, a lot of the suits that I expected to play differently in terms of move sets,
mm-hmm.
Where let's take for example the 3 stolen suits from Seed, the Aegis, the Blitz, and the Duel.
Yeah.
They're all going to be in the new game. But the Aegis is the only one that I found myself actually wanting to pilot. Mostly because it played like a Gundam, in terms of how Gundams play in Dynasty Warriors Gundam.
Yeah.
It had a complete move set. It had 6 attack strings. It had, all this different goodies. But the Duel and the Blitz got reduced in their move sets to if they were no different than a Zaku warrior.
Yeah, kind of like a grunt suit or something like that.
Like an advanced grunt suit.
Yeah.
And that was really off-putting because it's not the only most of the new Gundams introduced in the game that are not well known. They're sub-ace suits. They're not. I don't even feel like I'm playing with a Gundam. It's more like I'm playing with an advanced Gelgoog or something.
Yeah, kind of an in-between between a Gundam and just a grunt suit. It's
Exactly, and it's where I was like, I was hoping to play as like the Blitz and the Duel a lot more, or like the Calamity and the Raider.
Yeah, and because there's a
in
lot of
terms
cool moves you could get out of those.
Exactly, and the way they implemented it in this game is where it was like, we just added it because we wanted to have more stuff. It wasn't like we did it, okay, we want to, do the Calamity or the Dual Justice. Like, no, just add more stuff so people will buy it.
Do you think if they do, I assume they most likely will at some point, come out with an English version, do you think they may kind of tweak that? I know at least in some other games have done so, or do you think they're just going to leave it alone and just English-ize it? That makes sense.
I highly doubt it. What I've heard so far is that it's only going to be a digital release, at least in the US.
I could see that.
And in Europe, it'll actually have a physical copy.
I can see that. That makes... It's not necessarily the best, but I understand why they're doing so.
Yeah, like I understand. Yeah, it's perfectly understandable. Like I understand why. I mean, they probably can't really justify making it a physical release again. Maybe just based off sales from the last games. Like that, I understand. It's not like a huge deal for me. But there's this, I guess, talk in the community that it's not going to have English voices. That it's just going to be just translated into English, and that there won't be an English voice cast this time around, which is a big letdown for me, especially because of how I feel about the game already in general. I mean, that was probably my main selling point that played again in English, is because I would want to hear some of the English voice actors. Like especially Mulaflaga. If they got the guy that did Mulaflaga in the English cast, I would just be playing as him most of the time, because I've loved that guy. That was the only reason I watched Seed, was because of Mulaflaga.
Just that voice actor, just like, hey.
Just that voice actor. I just wanted to hear him say, I make the impossible possible. That's all I want to hear.
But just that line. Don't give him any other lines in the game. Just
don't give him
say
any
that
more
over
lines.
and over.
Over and over again, when it's appropriate. Like, if I'm about to die, and then he says it, I'll just be like, fuck yeah. That was totally worth almost dying.
Yeah.
Just because he said it.
Just to hear it.
Yeah. Just, like, things like that, like, I know I'm not the only one who has, like, their favorite voice actor.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You want to hear him in the game, especially when you're playing as him.
Yeah.
And that was, like, another letdown for me, like, I mean, I really hope it's not true, but, I guess apparently another Muso game that was digitally released, that was sort of in the same, like, the way it plays apparently is really similar to the new, Dynasty Warriors game. And it apparently was not released with an English soundtrack, and it's going this like the same way that had like a PS3 and Vita release in Japan, but when they translated it over here, it didn't get any voices in English or any Vita version. It was just straight translation, and it was pretty much just the same game but in English.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard is most likely happening. I'm hoping most people are wrong, but for me, it's not looking too good. I mean, the only reason I would play it is just to understand, like, the side stories.
Yeah, you kind of have a better idea.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't even have to understand it. You can pretty much just get the gist of it, based on the little storyboards that they give you. But apparently, this time around, there's like a little bit more fan service in between. I don't want to spoil anything, but apparently, Miliardo talks about someone that may or may not appear in the next game who's closely affiliated to him, and that's probably all I'll say on that, just because I don't want to give too much spoilers for anyone.
Yeah.
But that was cool, because I didn't get that playing the game the first time. I totally, just skipped out on it because I was skipping through the cutscenes. Yeah. Because they're not even, they're just like, drawn characters with, text. There's ultimate mode got no, nice new movies like official mode did. Mm-hmm. All the data in terms of movies is dedicated to official mode. Which for me was also a letdown, not because the movies were bad, they look fantastic. That was one of the positives for me as well, is just how well those little cutscenes came out. It looked better than the series at times.
Oh, wow.
I actually enjoyed watching those more at times than going back and watching the actual anime, which I was surprised at, and it just, lent itself to the idea that they did a really good job. But what I also found out when people were, getting the soundtracks and the sound bites from the game is that those movies take up, I think it was maybe 75% of the actual data on the disc.
Oof.
And yeah. But when you see this cutscene, then it makes sense.
Yeah, how well they're done, the high quality.
Yeah, how well they're done, yeah. So I was like, okay, well that makes sense. And then I got to thinking, well, I wouldn't mind that much data being, sacrificed on cutscenes if it were, cutscenes like the first game had.
Yeah.
Where it's like an original story and you get to see everybody's point of view. That for me is the only way I would be able to accept that, 75% of the game is cutscenes.
Yeah, that if it actually ties a story together as opposed to, hey, cutscene.
Instead of, yeah, like, oh, look at the scene that you could see on YouTube, but it looks a little bit better because it's computerized. Yeah. Like, that, initially when I saw it, I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome, that's so cool. And then, when I played Ultimate Mode, or the, story mode of the game, not seeing a single, computerized cutscene instead of just, text and picture cutscenes, it was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
Seeing how well they did the cutscenes, but that they sacrificed, what for me is the allure of Dynasty Warriors Gundam is the fact that, you get to see all these different pilots interact with each other.
Yeah.
In ways that, you may have thought of, or ways that you may have never even thought of. For me, it'll always be, Jared, Hero, and Master Asia going on their little adventure.
Yeah.
That for me was always the best, second best actually. I did like Domon and Miliardo and, Puru. That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it is really cool in those games to actually see how, granted, the storylines tied together in kind of, at least the initial how all the pilots were brought together in kind of a odd or shaky way, but the actual interactions between the characters forms the story itself.
Exactly.
Where you're more excited to see how is Atherin and Duo, how are they gonna actually communicate back and forth as opposed to, oh, we're fighting the Night Gundam. Well, I really don't care. I'd rather, see how these pilots interact.
Exactly. And that was for me why, the story for Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3 was also sort of a letdown. Even though I do like Night Gundam, and I just like when they add new Gundams, from the SD universe or wherever it is they're getting them from.
Just make them a full size or something.
Yeah, exactly. For me, more is never worse. It's always better, but just the way they handle it.
Yeah.
This time around, I actually caught myself, saying that actually, I guess more was a little bit worse at times.
Yeah, especially the duel. Yeah, I can understand it being if, you had two different variants where, it's Super or whatever went into the Assault Shroud and, its normal version played, kind of like you were talking about. That's a little more understandable, I suppose. But the Blitz is the Blitz. You almost have to have an entirely different playstyle for the even gimmick for the suit.
Exactly. And the suit gimmick, when it's, presented in the game, I didn't really like it that much. I was a little disappointed. I was like, this is the Blitz. Come on. This is the guy that almost stabbed, the lead character had he not, yelled out, "I'm coming to get you."
He would have ended the show.
He would have ended the show and halfway. Come on, you gotta at least give the Blitz something. But I was actually disappointed with how they handled most things in terms of suits like that. And the Assault Shroud is in the game as well. It's just part of the new burst mode mechanic they have for the suits.
I think at least from my standpoint, playing both, these games as well as, some of the other Gundam games, that it'd be nice to see with the Rebirth, them go in their own direction entirely and not try to do anything extra. Have your little story, but at the same time, have all those character interactions, but your mechanics overall should really represent how the mobile suit should function in a battle. So, the big obvious ones, the Blitz, as we were talking about, and the Death Scythe, they're both stealthy, cloaked mobile suits, but really in any of the Dynasty Warriors, the Muso games, you don't get a lot of that cloaking action. Yeah, you get it occasionally, but it'd be cool to see that interplayed more as, even though the games are hack and slash, but it'd be cool to have that different play mechanic that you can go stealth if you wanted. If that makes sense.
I would agree. And I've never even really, it hasn't really bothered me that much with the death sight, so much as where, his cloak was like almost a prize for doing his SP attack. Or like a certain attack string. It didn't really even bother me, like, cause at least, they included it. I mean, they could have just gone like, oh, we forgot,
like, hey, its scythes are cool, right?
Yeah, like, he's got a big old sword. That's enough, right?
And to be fair, scythes are pretty cool, so.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, they're pretty fucking awesome. But it didn't even bother me so much as that it's a Gundam. The Blitz, the Duel, the Calamity, all those guys, it's supposed to be badass.
Yeah, and it's supposed to wreck everyone else on the screen that's not a Gundam.
Exactly. And when I felt that, what was it, a Wingdom could do better than, the Blitz or the Duel, that's when I was like, you kind of dropped the ball on this one, baby.
Yeah, I don't know, like, there are some things, especially, with Gundam vs. Extreme Full Burst just coming out relatively recently for consoles, and, this starting to come out, or has come out rather, and eventually we'll get English in some form or fashion, that they almost kind of like tie together, that Japan kind of does their thing, and they do this a lot with, a lot of other things related to, especially Gundam, anime, that they kind of just, hey, we're gonna make this, it's gonna be all in Japanese. We may port it to English someday, but it's not really gonna fit how the West really does a lot of things, because, it's probably gonna be successful anyway, so we'll just throw some English subtitles and you'll be fine. And that's aggravating when, Unicorn, did leaps and bounds for coming out dubbed in both Japanese and English at the same time.
Right.
That, a lot of, at least, more major motion picture-esque things are doing that, and it's like, you would think they would catch the hint that, okay, well, these are your easily biggest, most profitable games. You did it with the other ones in the series, why not just continue it? But, I guess it does save them a little bit of money in the long run.
Yeah, and I even understand, like, where they would come from. It's not a game based for the West. I mean, yeah, the people in the West love Gundam, but they don't love Gundam like Japan.
Yeah.
Nobody loves Gundam like Japan.
Yeah, Japan's on a whole nother level.
We can sit here and be like, oh yeah, we're fans. They should make it for us, but you're never gonna see a life-size Gundam in front of the White House. Like, I'm sorry. It's just never gonna happen.
But it's never gonna happen.
That would be awesome, and Obama needs to get on that.
Obama. The United States listening, NSA people, tell him we said this.
Fucking, who is it? Secret Service? I know you're listening to this shit, cause I just said his name.
Do it.
Get happen.
Yeah, we just said the president's name, they're like, okay, we gotta watch these guys.
Yeah, we gotta watch this.
Hey, our views just went up, even better for us.
Exactly. I understand, like, business decisions like that, where we're gonna do what we wanna do, and that's fine, but when you do it, like, do it right, Like, I'm a fan of the series. Like, I wanna see these suits represented well. Don't just throw them in to make money. Cause then that just doesn't, I mean, I know I'm not the only one. Even in Japan, people were like, okay, this is cool. Like, I get to play as, the Aegis. That's awesome. It works awesome. But then the Duel is just like, nothing. A Wingdom out duels the Duel. It's like, and I know there was some people who were like, yeah, this game is awesome, but it seems like it's missing something, or like,
they kind of just
try to do
threw too much at it and just kind of got overwhelmed overall.
Like, it was supposed to be a compilation of everything that's been awesome about the series, but, like, really it was just like, we're just gonna use the same stuff we have and then throw in some new shit. To be like, oh yeah, we're bringing, like, this is like the ultimate Dynasty Warriors Gundam game, because we're doing everything we possibly can, but I think they might have screwed it up just a little bit by doing that. I don't know, that's just how I feel.
I mean, there is definitely a distinct style that they go for, and a lot of Gundam games, at least, tend to be more of an arcade-esque thing as opposed to,
Hack and
yeah.
Yeah,
I really like that aspect because when you watch a Gundam series, yes, you do want the realism of okay, this pilot, he's a noob, so he's probably gonna get pretty beat, but at the same time, he's wrecking everyone else out there. That you want that badass feeling.
Exactly.
And I don't know, there are things I would like to see this, especially with this being kind of the rebirth of the series as a whole.
Right.
That they could have done, and
exactly. That's
going forward, I hope they do pick more ideas up from it, as opposed to okay, well, we think we've hit a good mark. Let's just kind of fine tune the suits and do the next one, and add 20 more suits or something.
Yeah, there was some glimmer of hope for the future. Don't want to spoil too much, but I mean. It'll probably make some people happy to know this, but some of the DLC suits, the DLC for this game was, great. It was a home run. It's what kept me going back to the game. But one of them was actually the Crossbone Gundam Kai, the X1. Ooh. And they actually included, Seabook Arno in his, F91 pilot suit or pilot outfit when he has a different alias. And that was really cool because, you expect suits like the original series, Zeta, Double Zeta, Double O, Unicorn, you'd expect those to be in Dynasty Warriors Gundam game, but the Crossbone was a great shot out of left field, if anything, I would see the Crossbone in an Extreme game.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see the Crossbone in a Dynasty Warriors Gundam game so soon. So it was nice seeing that, they're expanding out to the side stories as well. Or the different mangas that really haven't, been introduced. And especially since the game is coming out in the West, just that suit alone, that DLC is going to spark a huge interest in the series.
Yeah. I mean, especially going forward.
Especially.
There's a lot of things, the top 3 things, at least, from this perspective that could be popularized in the West and eventually get some form of animation, Crossbone's in that top 3.
Oh, definitely. I mean, just, there was I can think on YouTube somewhere, there's a
fan it's really
trailer.
Good for, especially a fan thing,
badass, especially since it's a fan. It's not even Bandai doing it, it's just a fan.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Doing it. I mean, that looks sick. And everybody thought it was official, when's
I know, the first time I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I am so waiting for this. But nope, it was fake.
Well, hopefully.
Which is fine, too. I'm just take the hit.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many things, especially with, the announcement fairly recently. I think the last 2 weeks.
Oh, that new series?
Yeah, that you think they would, granted, they are finishing off Unicorn, they're gonna go into Origins. You would think, hopefully after Origins, they're gonna try to continue some UC storyline, and it's either gonna be Hathaway's Flash, or it's gonna be that. I hope it's Crossbone, because that'd be so much cooler. But
yes, I never really was a fan of Hathaway, ever since Shark's counterattack.
Yeah, I mean, he's better in Flash, but he's still, meh.
He's still...
I mean, Crossbone Gundams are way cooler, so.
Exactly. I mean, who doesn't want a pirate?
Oh, yeah. And
Gundam? I mean, ever since 8, people have been like, what, there's pirate Gundams? And, people that have been watching Gundam forever, it's no, there's a lot more.
Especially, one of the biggest kickers from the finale of Build Fighters being Mao's custom Crossbone Gum. It's okay, come on, guys, catch on.
Yeah, his Crossbone, yeah. It has a satellite cannon now. It's it's badass. It's more badass than you could... I can't even say how badass it is. That's how badass it is. I can't even say
not conceivable in words.
Exactly. I could not conceive that much badassness in one suit.
I eventually think we'll get there, just because, Damashi's coming out for the Crossbone, or a new Damashi at least.
Yeah, is it the Kai?
I think it is the Kai.
Out? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Kai. It has a skull.
Yeah,
chest,
and
right?
I think it's got the full cloth and everything on it. Then you get the Mao Crossbone Kai or whatever.
I could see the Mao if I don't know how the rights or the restrictions or whatever all that stuff it goes, but I could see the Mao being a Tamashii exclusive if they wanted to go.
Oh
that
yeah,
way.
I mean,
And since they'll already have the crossbow,
yeah,
mold,
they don't have to do much.
and they could just gauge the interest on that exclusive as to whether or not they want to do build fight. I think build fighters in Robot Damashi would sell extremely
Oh yeah, because they have most of the molds already. They could just push it a little further and be like, hey, we'll just do this line as exclusives. Age sucked pretty hard when we tried it, but if we do this as exclusive, it's not gonna hit us as hard if it doesn't sell.
Exactly. We're not gonna go bankrupt on
I
this.
think overall a lot more people receive build fighters a lot better as opposed to Age.
I think so. Yeah, at first I was like, oh great, another kids show,
Yeah.
but
Going into it I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Then now I'm like,
exactly like, what? I was like, this is the best thing I ever did.
It's crazy. I mean, coming off of this, watching that, there's two things I was, for the most part, continuously watching this season. That, and Kill la Kill. And I had like a more emotional reaction to Build Fighters ending than I did Kill la Kill, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel so bad about this?
Like, yeah, because for me, it was all the homages that were done throughout the show. And then the fact that, everybody wants to play with their games.
Every time after I'd watch that, I would always be like, man, I want to get a new kit, or man, I want to work on this kit or something.
Exactly, or like, it actually watching, Build Fighters got me back into Gundam Breaker.
Yeah.
For a time I was like, it got stale, trying to get all those perfect parts, and then, Build Fighters comes along, I'm like, I want to fucking build everything now. I want to have customs of everything, and, go all badass, and I actually, going back, find it more fun than Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, and it gives you that whole nother level of, okay, I can actually make something, for the most part, that's my own, that I can kind of create my own, quote-unquote, story. Not super, but,
exactly.
Yeah, but it gives you that satisfaction of, okay, I can build this. I may never be able to build it in real life, but hey, I can have a digital version.
And I can
Exactly.
use it.
Like, every time after Build Fighters would end, I'd be like, damn it, why can't I play, digitally with any of my fucking model kits?
Exactly. I would build a fucking Wing Zero that would be all badass.
So cool.
It'd be like Fellini.
Yeah, Fellini easily was at least my favorite character in that show. I'm not sure if it's because he's Italian, he has the Wing Gundam, or what, but he is just... Oh, he needs his own side story. Like a little OVA of his origins, because...
A little Fellini side story.
So good. It's gonna be weird though. Like going forward, I am excited, at the prospects we have in terms of games and animation and stuff coming out for Gundam. We've got Origins coming out, we've got Unicorn ending, and... that little 40-second clip of episode 7 we get to see in that song, I just can't stop watching it.
The Neo Zigong or whatever.
That's a little off-putting, and if the Sinanju, I know it just fits in there, but if it doesn't get any action, I'm gonna be so upset. But if it doesn't actually get any action, it's just I'm gonna sit in the Neo Z. I assume because at least the stuff from the model kit I've seen looks like it just slides right in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like, exactly, from the model kit, it looks like the Sinanju is just gonna hop right in there.
Yeah, I hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
And that you see it for, you see a fight with the Sinanju, maybe it runs out of ammo, or its arm gets cut off or whatever, so it just docks with the Neo Zigong.
Slides right in. Little trump card.
Yeah, and then it kinda goes from there, but that I'm super hyped for. I really hope it's not gonna be a dumb ending, and I think most, after Age, I think they've probably got their endings a little better, especially with the money they've thrown into Unicorn.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be, twice as long as a normal episode?
I think so, it's taken forever to do.
Yeah.
And then, Origin, that first part comes out, I think next year or whatever. And that looks really cool. I'm hoping that's gonna be really solid. And then, that new G and Rope, I don't even know it, but I would much rather...
The Rookie
whatever.
I'm hoping it pleasantly surprises me like Build Fighters did, but I'm not a fan of the anime style.
Yeah,
and
it reminds me a lot of
the-
Turn
the-
A, and I didn't like Turn A all that much.
Exactly. I mean, I know there's people that swear by Turn A, but I did not like
more
Turn
I think about it, I want to say I read somewhere it's like in the same timeline as Turn A, like it's either slightly before or slightly after, which is why it looks so similar. And it's just
I think I've read something like that too, that it's before, like, I guess their timeline or century or
and
whatever.
it's just like, I would much rather see Crossbone that ties, Victory and F91 together for the most part in terms of time.
Exactly.
And as opposed to, let's go so far out of the Universal Century that, it's still the same timeline, but no one cares anymore. You have your
exactly.
cult following with Turn A. That's all nice and dandy, but so many more people want, especially after the success of Unicorn and the hype over Origin, you think, okay, well, let's do something, maybe not now with G and whatever, but later on, when we have that void to fill, let's fill it with good, well, I don't want to say necessarily that a Turn A is bad, but more hype versions of the Universal Century, closer tied into the technology of Unicorn and the original and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they use the same technology that they used on Unicorn with like a crossbow.
Oh, it would be crazy.
Oh, that thing would sell out.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a hit.
I would much rather I don't want to say Build Fighters has overstayed its welcome, because there is a portion of Gundam fan bases where that belongs. And I think it did a wonderful job. But I think you need a good, something kind of harkening back to, and I hope this is what Origins is going to do, and from the preview I assume, something kind of like the 08 MS team. Where you've done 2 kid shows in a row, do something gritty, do something real, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite OVAs was actually probably, what was it? I think 0081, or it was the war story with Bernie and the little boy.
0080, I think is what it is.
Is it 0080? Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was 81 or 80.
Somewhere in there.
Like, that's actually one of my absolute favorite OVAs of all time, just because it was so gritty. And it's like, everyone, could, I guess put themselves in the little boy's shoes. Like, it's all fun and games for us until, we realize, oh shit, like, this guy just died.
This guy's in half.
Like, this guy's like, he just got cut in half by this thing that I'm playing with on my shelf. And for me, that was like, it was such a great direction to go in. Because even though it's so serious, it's like, it's I guess something nobody
it hits more of a home type feel where you're like, you can sympathize a lot more with that kid even though he's, 10, 15 years younger, but at the same time you're like, oh shit, I sympathize more with this kid than I do, say, Shiro or Amuro or Benager, because I'm never gonna get to pilot a Gundam, but I can build the kits all day long.
Exactly. I could love that, I just blew up 5 guys in a row, but nobody ever stops to realize that, he just blew up, 5 guys in a row. He just killed 5 dudes like it was nothing, and you're over here like, fuck yeah, that was amazing.
And I'm hoping, that's what Origins, from the preview, and it looked, a lot of people were either really hit or miss. Either people are super hype or people are like, this is gonna be fucking stupid. I think it's gonna be great. The origin of how everything leads up, I think, is really what missed the original series. That, you got the vague lead up, but there's so much more to the Universal Century than what we actually see. And granted, the early Universal Century would be boring as hell to watch, because there's no fucking mobile suits, but having that little prequel thing there for, the build-up of Char and, the death of his dad and all that, and seeing the Federation reaction, I think is gonna really push over the top that it's not just Amuro's story anymore, that it's the full effect of, the rivalry between Char and Amuro, and you understand why Char is doing what he's doing, even more so.
Yeah, I've always loved where series just don't throw out, oh, okay, he's a bad guy just because he's a bad guy. I love series that that let you understand why he does what he does. Yeah, and that's why I love the origin idea with, getting to see Char before
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
Char.
getting to see his
You know,
background.
when he was Casvel.
Yeah, you're getting to see the real Char.
You know, how does, yeah, and like, you know, how does, you know, knowing that your dad was killed for his beliefs
Yeah.
and all that, and, you know, how does that, you know, what does that do?
Yeah, and then you get to see, you know, the beginnings of Sayla and Rumbarall and how she ends up going, you know, because I assume this is going to be kind of a precursor type situation, then we'll get into the full on origin where, you know, we have Gundam and everything like that. It'll be interesting to see, okay, you know, we saw little mini Sayla and now we see her on board White Base and it's like, oh shit, so hype. So excited.
Right? Yeah. No, yeah, I completely agree with you on that, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that much more than I am the,
yeah, I mean, I hope, like you said, I'm pleasantly surprised, but, and I assume, you know, I'll watch it and I'll probably enjoy it. Probably in my mind, it'll probably hit where Age for the most part hit for me. Where it was like, okay, you know, this is okay. I'm glad it was animated, but it's not, you know, I got way more excited weekly about seeing Build Fighters than I ever did for Age. Even in the hype of, holy shit, the second arc of Age is so much better that even then it still wasn't like, oh, well this is kind of...
I need to see what happens next.
Yeah, I need to see, okay, you know, you could usually gauge it like, okay, this is what's gonna happen, but when I saw the preview for the beach episode, I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever, but I'm so excited for this. Like, how are they gonna throw Gunpla into this? And of course, you know, hey, this resort has a Gunpla fighting thing. It's like, oh, of course. Of course it does.
Of course.
Right. And overall, yeah, we'll talk about it more on the main podcast, at least from my standpoint, so I'll kind of just skim over my thoughts. But the finale of Age, if you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and, you know, if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch, pause this, go watch it, and then come back and listen to our thoughts. If you've seen it, stay tuned. If you don't care, stay tuned. But what did you think of the ending? I would say like the last 3 episodes.
I think that ending is as far as like an ending for a series, even though I'm really hoping they do like a second season or like a movie or something. The ending gave me everything I wanted.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't like, oh wait, what about this? Or wait, this didn't get settled. Like everything got settled. Maybe like the one thing for me that didn't get settled was well, should I spoil it?
Oh yeah, no, we told them if they didn't want to be spoiled, they could leave.
Okay. For me is like I'd want to see just what happened to the guy who stole the crystal. Like I think in the epilogue he actually I guess is back on Earth with his old lady friend.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking. I don't remember if it's like
the chairman or something.
Like your supposed big bad guy, which he's more childish than anything, but that was the one thing that bothered me about the ending was one, he was a character you vaguely understood why he was doing what he was doing, but it was very shallow. It was very, you didn't really like him as a character. And I think the ending, that we're talking about, that I think that's him back on Arya or wherever the hell he's from. I think he took those with her, or he made those when he got back. So they're actually somewhat successful when they get back. And that's a really bullshit ending for me. Like, he's the bad guy. Fuck him.
Right? Like, fucking putting him in jail, but I guess it also, it lends itself to this series.
Yeah,
like, they're not gonna be like, oh, he gets decapitated and, it's still like a kid's show, but...
I would just assume him going back and never showing him again, I would have felt better about it, because that'd be like, he's probably in jail. I feel good about this.
Exactly.
I mean, granted, he wasn't successful in that. He was selling things, but, he wasn't... So I guess it's not as bad that, he wasn't the chairman again. He was more, I'm a street vendor selling these. So, kind of a happy medium, but I don't know. Like you said, I hope there's a second season or a movie, because either like a little spin-off of kind of precursors to like the older generation of the Gunpla guys, like seeing the backstory of Rawl and Mao's teacher and Fellini and all of that, seeing their lead up into Gunpla would have been super sick. Or Say's dad, or even a continuation to see how Sei does by himself. Because I think that's where I think the show really, when it ended, set itself to go, because, you see Sei become, a world-class handler.
Pretty much Reggie.
And, no one it makes sense, I guess, but at the same time, like, I want to see how he does. Because, at the end, he's all like, new model kit going forward.
I'm a badass.
I've got my own costume.
Yeah, I saw that.
I hope that's where they go with it, and I would love to see a continuation of this. I think it would be smart for Bandai.
Oh yeah, especially.
Oh yeah,
model kits. They sold an absurd amount of model kits.
Oh yeah, they made their own Gunpla boom themselves with this. Granted, at the beginning, I was like, this is fucking stupid. I hate Gunpla commercials.
Exactly.
Then you get into it and you're like,
yep.
Actually, this is fucking great. Why didn't I do this before?
Yeah.
So,
right?
Having that story behind it and having it actually be, having characters you care about as opposed to age, it's like, I really don't give a fuck about 80% of the cast. But, I think this is where they hit, and I think after G and Oroka Wester, I don't know, fuck that name. The new Gundam series, whenever it happens, I assume, at least from a financial standpoint, it's probably going to do what Age did. But at the same time, maybe it won't. It is kind of Tomino's big return to Gundam.
That's probably why the only reason I would watch is when I found out that, it's like his baby, and I'm like, okay, but, your last baby was...
Yeah, I'm really hoping that, preferably, from a personal standpoint, I would have liked to see him do his own thing, because when early speculation of this new series came out, it was, hey, this is something, it's not going to be Gundam, but, Tomino's doing it, it looks a lot like Gundam, but it would have its own story, and I'd have been fine with that. I would have watched it, I would have probably liked it. There's a bunch of
I would have been fine with that.
Subpar Bandai Sunrise mech shows to fill in for Gundam when it's not there that I legitimately enjoy, just because they're kind of dumb and anime bullshit. Exactly.
That's what they're there for.
But, I don't know, I hope after that does I hope it does good, but I assume it's probably going to do Age or maybe levels of Gunpla Builder. We'll see. That, I hope they go back to Gunpla Builder. Or not Gunpla Builder. Build Fighter. Whatever.
Build Fighters, yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I thought Build Fighters was going to be ridiculous, especially after that second or first episode where you see Reggie disappear.
I remember
and you're
when
like,
I saw
what?
that, I was like, I have to do a reaction video to this, and I remember it was just me sitting in front of a camera saying, what the fuck?
The fuck?
And I was like, I shouldn't upload this.
Are you kidding me right now?
But overall, the goofy aesthetic, all the dumb cliches and everything, especially, no other, I say this, I think the original Gundam had one out, I can't think of any other since, that have that fucking stupid anime beach episode that every anime's got.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was funny as shit.
I'm sure most people did not mind that beach episode, mostly because of Sei's mom. But,
at least from
it's like, really?
Someone who watches a lot of other anime, I thought that was funny as shit. I was like, okay, you're not even taking it seriously anymore, I get it. This is great.
Yeah, I love that it didn't take itself seriously because, I guess that's what made that unseriousness appealing to me. I know you're literally just talking shit to yourself. And you know what? It's cool. I'm digging it. I like it.
I think that's a really good, you get the fans who are already there into it. They think it's kind of funny for the most part. Even if they don't like the story, they still want to watch the action because, it's a bunch of gunpla they have yet to see and gives them hope that they'll see it in the future. Then you've got kids who like
that
it.
And this, just the homage.
Yeah,
that's
just
what really made Build Fighters
that
for me.
third from last episode where literally everyone you see
everyone
is some fucking cosplay or them paying a homage to here's Minerva Zabi. Yeah. Here's fucking Char. Here's 20 other side characters you can't remember, but you remember seeing them. You're like, And I know that guy.
Exactly. You're like, oh shit, and then just
Yeah,
shards
it took me like,
you're just spoiled brat.
it
I was
took
like,
me a few
what?
minutes to realize it, and I was like, holy shit. Those are all people from Gundam. I was like, oh man.
I think the very first people they show, I think, is Alex
Yeah.
and Bernie and and I was like, what?
I was like, this is...
And then right then and there, I'm like, all right, who else
And
is
it
going to show up right now? And then boom,
doesn't stop. It's like, just
Maneva
shameless. It's
whoever
like,
the
don't
fuck.
even care anymore. Just do it.
Everybody's like, nope, we're just throwing everybody
I
at
mean,
you.
I have to say, that episode was probably the hypest episode, just because when you saw all of that dumb fucking, oh my god, it's those people, and then you get to see the return of, the final four for the most part, that, the Wing Fenice is back, Mao's custom Gundam X is back. I mean, Nails isn't there, but, whatever, There's not much you could really do to the Sengoku Astray anyway.
Except, he got to, use it again.
Yeah,
I was glad
really
he actually got
disappointed.
to
I thought he just, died. I was like, cause they showed the crystal and he's gone. I'm like, oh no, they showed them getting rescued. I forgot about that. Never mind.
Yeah, no, he was there. I was thinking, did he not?
Yeah, did he just? Yeah, I forgot about that.
Did he just make it up?
This is what happened. But from this standpoint, I think it's the best entry point. I mean, listening to other podcasts where it's more kind of overall anime based, when someone brings up Gundam, I get super fucking excited. I'm like, oh shit, yeah! And then
oh yeah. Anything new is, for Gundam, usually
or when,
fails.
someone's like, I went back and watched Wing or something, or, they're like, I've never watched Gundam, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna dedicate a week to just finishing everything. And I'm like, man, you are awesome. And it really disappoints me that you have to get in that mindset to do anything with Gundam, because it's so big, which is great. But at the same time, for anime fans that, even if they'd watched all fucking One Piece or whatever the fuck, that's 600 episodes long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I could never do that. I would have to love a
yeah,
series
there's
like
no way.
to do 600 episodes.
And they're like,
wow.
The Gundam's just so big, and I think this is the best thing to get into it, because one, you may not know the homage you're seeing until you go and watch the series, but it's the easiest way to get into it that, it's from the standpoint of you, it's the fan. And you're like, well, I don't build model kits, but the rest of this shit's cool. And then you go back and you watch Unicorn, or you watch 0080 or 0083, and you see all that shit, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I know I saw that in that, and you're like, yes, and I think Bandai Sunrise is going in the right direction. I hope they do this again.
And see, I agree with what you said, but for me, I think the reason why it was so successful is because of all the people who have seen all those episodes before and were like, holy shit, there's Char, or like, holy shit, there's the Destiny, or the Freedom gets fucking destroyed the first episode.
You're like, yes,
I love it.
This is great.
You're like, yes, fuck the Frida, and then you see, crap. But then you get to see all these homages, and it just strikes a chord because you've seen all that, you've enjoyed all of it, and you never think you'd see it again in an anime that's that's not dedicated to that show, is what I'm saying. That's what for me was like, okay, this is awesome.
And I think for, it hit the spectrum perfectly where you've got, like you said, old fans liked it for the most part. Either, they didn't give a shit about the story, but they liked the action and the homage, or you've got the kids who like it because they get to build Gunpla, or you've got the new anime fans because they see all the dumb fucking tropes like the beach episode. And then, it hit everyone where it needed to. And I think this is really realistically what Age should have been.
Exactly.
That, you can't go in between on a Gundam show. It's either got to be super fucking serious or it's gonna be dumb and fucking stupid. And I hope they stick with that idea.
I hope they do too. I really want to see a second season. I don't want it to be I want those fuckers to fill their promise. I want to see that promise was filled.
Yeah, no, I want to see the last episode of the second season or a movie after that or whatever.
Exactly.
Being Reiji and Sei fucking fighting it out.
In the cosmos.
Granted, I kinda didn't understand, why they, like, I assume, 'cause I didn't read any of the Japanese or whatever, but how they got, like, the Gunpla, like, fighting back?
Oh, it said in the newspaper. Yeah, I didn't get it as well, but then somebody was like, oh, it's actually translated in the, well, not translated, but they translated the newspaper.
Okay,
and it said that
I assume that's what it said when it was like Nails and his girlfriend and
they
like
totally,
the International Space Station. I saw that. I recognized that.
Yeah.
I was like, they're in fucking space.
that they,
Dude.
discovered a particle that was almost exactly like it, and I think the article, like the headline was, like, young boy or young genius resurrects Gunpla battle, or something. Like, that's what somebody said was the name of the article, so I was like, oh, okay.
How long until we see Gunpla battle in space?
Field 2?
Well, I mean, like, legitimately in space. I didn't think about that before I said it, and then I was like, oh, shit.
Right.
And I was like, wait, no, just put
Field 2.
everything in space, and it's... But I mean, I think it is really cool where they went, and I really enjoyed the show. A lot of people probably either loved it or hated it, but regardless, you know, I think overall it did way better than they ever could hope to.
Definitely did way better. I mean,
this is even something that it is on YouTube that I wouldn't mind buying a disc set or something.
Yeah, just translate.
Yeah, granted, yeah.
Doesn't even have to be in English.
I may never watch it, but I'll at least know I supported that series as opposed to, Age or something else. That I told Bandai, this shit is good. You did this right. Do it again. And I hope they do.
We can only hope.
Yeah, I mean, with everything continuing, having their Super Series origins and all of that, I think they'll go in that direction eventually.
Yeah, again. I think Build Fighters is too much of a cash cow not to do something again.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would probably give them time just like they did with, Gunpla Builders, then they had Age, or they probably had Gunpla Builders, something else, then Age, then Build Fighters, so they'll probably do that new Tomino one, and then probably do another short OVA or something. Yeah. And then go back to Build Fighters, and I hope that's what they do.
I mean, they created a whole new model line, like, for building, not just like for the show, but for every show, like, the whole rebuilding of all the high grade models, where they're gonna make them super easy, but super sturdy and strong, like, I think I heard that Wing Gundam that came out after the show, the high grade, is, like, one of the best high grades ever made, or it's almost like the perfect high grade. And I was like, what?
Oh yeah, a lot of people like that. I mean, from the stuff I've built, there are very few complaints I have. Like, especially for the not Build Fighters, the HG for All or whatever, like, the F91 is superb. I don't have really any complaints about it. Like, it's sturdy, it's got great articulation, other than, some of the sticker fitting and everything, it's a high grade.
The stickers are always just a pain in the ass, but even then, like, it doesn't bother me if the kit itself is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I got the F91, I was like, I don't really know, like, I'll build it, and then I found myself like, I don't want to put a lot of work into this, and I ended up painting the entire thing anyway, so I was like, even though going into it, I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. I actually ended up really enjoying it, and even suits, like the Dark Matter Exia, that color-wise...
I want that blue one. No. I know it'll end up being an exclusive, but I want that blue Exia.
Oh yeah, it's just
the normal amazing Exia, because it was amazing. That was actually my favorite point of the show, was when they brought out Exia and all the 00 stuff. Yeah. That and getting to see Reggie and Sei actually have like a real fight with the Meijin guy. That was what, like, made the final episode for me, was, okay, yeah, I saw, like, the final battle that, every Gundam show has to have. But then we also got to see something that, like, was promised to us, like, we're gonna have this most amazing fight. And even though it wasn't the most amazing fight, I like that it's set up, how Sei is gonna be, like, this master pilot and builder now.
Yeah,
that he's really been awesome this whole time. He's just kind of a pussy when it comes to rebuilding shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think it's really going to be a good idea to move forward
Oh,
with
definitely.
it. And I mean, overall, it was a wonderful show. The kits that came out of it were great.
Yep.
Going on with the high grade line, I mean, we'll see the line continue well after the show is done anyway.
They've said literally, like, we're bringing back everything.
Oh, yeah.
We're rebuilding everything. So, I mean,
yeah.
there are
tons of
they
things.
just started with, like, the lead suits from, all the different shows, but I mean.
Oh, yeah, I mean, once, they get that far, they'll still have, I assume we'll get the XE Amazing at some point. We'll probably get the repair parts exclusively.
As soon as I saw the repair, I was
I'm
like,
super
oh
stoked.
wow, they did not
I know,
get
like,
there.
when I saw, there were two things I saw when, like, you saw Alan come out with that case. I was like, one, it's either gonna be the Kemper Amazing, or two, they're gonna do the repair parts. And when I saw the repair, I was like, oh shit!
I was thinking, oh fuck, he's gonna bring the Kemper again. Like, I mean, I loved the Kemper, and then we got Amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, it's pretty good, but give me Exia. That's what I want. Give me. I mean, I know he loves the Zaku and the Kemper, but give me the Exia. And then when I saw the repair parts, I was like, oh yeah.
I just lost my shit. I was like, oh my god. Like, yes, we need this.
Cloak, fucking, all that shit, Broken Eye, give it to me. Exclusive, I don't care.
It was great. Yeah, I mean, however it comes out, like, so good. Oh my god. But, I mean, they have so many kits going forward. I mean, the Mao is just now getting, like, colored pictures of it, or recently anyway. We'll get the XE Amazing.
Before, he made the, on the show, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna miss the Gundam. I mean, the Gundam X is one of my favorite Gundams of all time. I like it better than the Double X. I just like the color scheme.
Yeah, Double X is just
like for me. If you could have kept if the divider could have kept the satellite cannon, that would have been like the perfect suit.
Yeah, that would have been it
right there.
Yeah.
So to see like Mao build like pretty much what I wanted, but instead of his cannon being on the back, it's handheld. I'm down for that. I'm down.
Oh yeah, and there are so many suits they still have to go, and it's gonna be great. I'm super stoked. They'll bring a full armor back, I assume, for Sei's dad. That one, cool. I really appreciated in the animation how they made it look like older 90s kits where it was really blocky, and I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, man, this is some shitty animation as compared to everything else, and I was like, oh shit, no, that's really good animation. Yeah. They put the thought into that. Such a good job.
That was so. I think what I heard was that the full armor, when it first was introduced, was actually like a child's toy or like a plaything, and then the design got incorporated into the concept of the real Gundam. It was like, well, let's just make a real version of this shit because that's actually a smart idea. And then to see how they drew it, kind of like all blocky and toy looking, like I was like, oh, that's just great. That's just, I didn't even ask for that homage.
That's a whole nother level of detail that you're just like, oh shit.
I was just expecting Sei's dad to show up in his regular Gundam, but to bring him in the full armor, that was, they went a little above and beyond on that one, and I was like very pleasantly happy.
If we do see a second season or a movie and Sei's dad is in it, I really hope, this is a really long shot, and I know they're not gonna do it, but it would be cool just to see an image of, the, Thunderbolt full armor Gundam. That be his new Gundam. Because, those designs and those designs are really good, and I understand why they weren't put into Build Fighters, because they're entirely different in tone.
Yeah.
But they're such fucking cool designs. I hope in the second season we at least see them on the shelf, if nothing else.
Yeah, on the shelf would be acceptable. Definitely.
Yeah. And, I think it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see everything come together in a second season and all of that. But, we'll see how it goes. I assume it'll happen at some point, because, I feel like, even in just comparison, if Age hadn't bombed so hard before, then it may not be as big as a success, but with Age doing as terrible as it did,
and then
that just holds this up further.
Yeah. And, I hadn't even thought about this, but Gundam Breaker was pretty much just made to advertise for Build Fighters.
Yeah,
You
I
think
mean,
about
even like
it, you know.
the build strikes in there.
Oh yeah, the build strikes in there with the update, and I was like, well, I mean, when the second season come out, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the second, you know,
Breaker will come
the
out.
second breaker is gonna come out when the second season is gonna be made, or some form of like a movie or an OVA.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me, the only reason I was interested in Build Fighters was because of Gundam Breaker.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just pushed you into it. It's like, oh,
Like,
well, you know, I like this game, might as well watch the show.
Right? Like, I mean, he's pretty much doing what I'm doing. It should be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I even
And
had, like, I guess the Gunpla Battle Championships from the show in the game, but I just didn't know
Yeah.
because I can't read Japanese.
Yeah, that usually helps.
Right?
It would be nice.
So, just,
But-
you know, for me, actually, like, I've been playing that so much, in the past, or just because I started watching Build Fighters, I got into Breaker again, just because I'm like, yeah, I'm having fun again. So
Yeah.
I would love to see a second game.
It'd be cool to see some DLC of the other
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
from Build Fighters.
If I could make an X-Mao, that's all I would pilot.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
That's all I would pilot.
you have everything you need right
Yeah.
there.
Just give me the parts.
Yeah. It'd be great. Like, when I saw the build strike was in there, I was like, oh shit, is the Wing Fenice gonna be in here?
Right?
And of course, you know, it's not.
It's not.
I was really disappointed about that, but I was like, whatever, you know. But I really do hope that I think Bandai's got a good business strategy for at least now, where you've got your Blu-ray sales just entirely depend on whatever overarching serious OVA you have. You know, right now it's Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Later on it's gonna be Origins. That when the next Build Fighters comes out, do the exact same thing you did with this one. Just put it on YouTube.
Yep.
Have it subbed in every language you could think of that's prevalent. And worry about your money coming from your model kits.
Done deal right there.
Exactly. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, you get it in high def, you get it for free, you don't have to feel bad about, okay, well, I'm gonna go watch it streaming first to see if it's shit.
Right.
And I think that's a really good strategy. I mean, I think that, you know, is the equivalent to Saturday morning cartoons now where, you know, more people are probably gonna watch it on YouTube than would ever watch it on TV, especially here in the West or in China or in wherever the hell else they subbed it.
Oh yeah, I mean, seeing just some of the comments on YouTube from people are like, oh my god, I've never seen this shit before, Gundam, and then, like, you can tell in the comments who's been watching it for a long time, and then who just barely started it because they were like, YouTube says you might like this shit.
And then you watch
then
it,
you
and it's a
watch
full
it,
show, and you're like,
fuck
what
yeah,
the fuck?
there's more of this? It's like, yeah, they'd be
I
dumb
think-
not to.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be a terrible idea. I mean, even the like new upcoming show, I know it's not gonna happen most likely. I think that would be a great idea. Just put that on YouTube
Yeah,
too.
I would just put everything on YouTube. I mean, it's just free advertising
mean,
for you.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like you've got to pay like you would on TV.
Right.
That you don't have to pay for that spot. You can just fucking upload it and there you go. I assume, you know, there's an agreement between YouTube and Bandai or whoever the fuck runs that channel.
Right.
That, you know, I'm assuming there's some kickback there, but
Oh yeah, all the ads. I'm sure it has some form of kickback.
I mean, they'd be dumb not
Exactly,
to.
yeah. I was
but,
just thinking, man, I wish I could own the rights to this so I could just make the money off of the YouTube.
yeah, I mean, even if they don't get any of that money from the monetization, and even if it's like, YouTube keeps 3/4 of the money from the monetization,
They're still,
gives a fuck.
it's just,
You're
yeah.
making triple that in model kit sales.
Right.
It's, you know, entirely, I think with them being like, in the show, okay, Gunpla Boom, and then doing as much Gunpla as they're doing now, they kind of just did it themselves. I think they did that really well. I applaud, you know, the writing staff and everyone on that, you know, they just had fun with it, and I think that really came across.
Definitely, yeah. One of the better written series.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I got way more hype about Kill la Kill, because it's the dumbest fucking show ever, and I loved it. But at the end of it, you know, I found myself in that last episode of Build Fighters, like, empty.
Yeah.
I was like,
what am I
gonna
doing
do
now? Exactly. Like, what am I gonna do now?
And then Kill la Kill, I was like, man, that was good, but fuck. How am I gonna keep building model kits and dumb bullshit like that? And I mean, It's definitely a series I will most likely go back and watch again, especially if it does stay on YouTube like that.
It needs to stay on YouTube, especially now that all the episodes are out. I think.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, because I'm the type of guy who just loves to like binge watch, like do Netflix, watch the entire seasons, and then I'll be like, I need to get everything from this. Just give me everything. Give me everything you got.
Oh yeah, I mean, this easily could be, with Netflix and Hulu, they have, their own original dumb bullshit they do, like House of Cards and all that. This, I think, would be a great time for YouTube to jump on it and be like, hey, we have our own exclusive anime, fuck you guys.
Exactly, and we make money off that shit.
Oh yeah, we make, a ton of money. I mean, their views were averaging out in the beginning like 60, 70,000 views.
It ended with like, what, almost a million? Almost?
Oh yeah.
In there?
Yeah,
at least.
Plus, all of the other series you're putting on there. I mean, you're doing the HD remaster of Seed and Seed Destiny.
Yeah.
And I think we went back into other stuff.
Nah.
Well, I mean, but that, I
just
think,
the idea.
is a central idea. Yeah. That, people may not be able to afford your $200 Blu-ray box set. Yeah. Put it on YouTube, but they want to watch it. They've got other means of going around and getting different things, other model kits, action figures, other novelty dumb stuff that goes with Gundam.
Right.
Gundam games, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But overall, I really like that idea. I really hope they do that again. I think we'll see another installment of Breaker. I think a lot of people liked it. Hopefully, once we get the English-esque version, rather, of the new Muso game, we'll get to do a little bit more in depth about it. I think more people we'll see how it goes, at least sales over here.
I think knowing what also is happening in the game will help, like, the game get over its flaws as well. Because a lot of it, if I'd have known, okay, for me, I'll spoil it, there is a mission where I guess Miliardo is like one of the bad guys. He's not really a bad guy, but he appears to be a bad guy. And he has a conversation with, I think it's Seabook or Ribbons. I'm not sure who, but he says, I wouldn't be he thanks somebody. I guess somebody joined his side. And he thanks them because he says, I wouldn't be having so much trouble right now if my partner in crime, pretty much. He says, if my partner in crime were around. And I don't know if he names, Noin, actually by her name. But he's like, yeah, my partner is actually out there scouting or something right now, checking out the land. He's like, I wouldn't be in so much trouble right now if she were around.
Oh.
But it's like, what? Noin?
Oh, we better get, a Taurus or Aries or something.
Aries or some shit,
And kind of on that idea that, it's in other Dynasty Warriors games and stuff where you kind of have the sides you play as, whether it's the more understandable villains or your heroes that are usually a little less understandable for the most part. That I think it'd be cool, and this is a dumb idea to throw out there, but have that idea where you can make your own side. And this is way more of a thing that I doubt they'll ever get into, but kind of have in the beginning do a different type of a story mode where, you can pick, say, a few pilots that you want on your side, of course the pilot you play as, and kind of go through the story like that. So you can kind of customize your team a little bit.
I can see it. Sort of like a G Generation thing, kind of, or a SD World kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I can see that.
It'd be cool.
But I think they may just leave that to SD Gundam.
Yeah, like I said, I doubt they'll ever do it, but it'd be cool to, have a team that, say, you've got Miliardo and Hero with you, and then you've got Noin, and you pilot as someone who's not from the Wing universe that I just entirely exclusively named.
Let's go with Setsuna. Let's just throw him in
there. There we go, with Setsuna. And you could actually, granted, it would take a lot longer, because they would have to...
You'd have to account for every single choice somebody could make, and that's just millions of lines of dialogue.
Banter back and forth, and it's absurd.
But
I think that would be cool, and it does kind of go to the idea even a little bit to the it's kind of like the Battlefield of Gundam, I guess.
I guess.
Like, I forgot what the fuck that game is called. It's like Battlegrounds or something. It's a free-to-play game on the Japanese PSN store. But, it's essentially like Battlefield 3, I guess, is a decent instance. But you all have Gundam, or not Gundams, but, you know, it's early UC, so you've either got like a Zaku or a GM, you've got the different variants, and there's ship combat in there, and I really like that idea. Granted, it'd be cooler to be like, okay, I've got the Epion and the Wing Zero, and we're fucking protecting White Base. This shit's cool. But, granted, that's a pretty big step out of
the norm.
The way, so, yeah. And that would probably not bring any in sales anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about Gundam, you gotta remember it's all about the sales. I mean, they're just pretty much, they're just advertisements, that's really what they are, but they're awesome advertisements.
Oh yeah, no, they do a great job. Like, even their shows that are supposed to be advertisements.
Exactly,
I'm
like,
you know what?
That's awesome. That's not an advertisement.
They did it the right way. Like, there's a ton of places or different shows that try to do it, and it's like, please don't ever do that again.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But that's how it goes. But, yeah, I mean, going forward, there's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to. Were there any thoughts, kind of a closing idea that you wanted to have, or say, or, I'm terrible with words right now. I'm sorry. But, any closing thoughts, Nick? There we go.
Don't judge, Shin Gundam Musou just basically because I said that disappointed me. Just give it a chance. I mean, I still like it. I'll still play it. I'm just, like, it's just one, like, some, like, pet peeves of mine. And, you know, when people play it, they may or may not see it, but, it's still a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've played the ones in the past,
if you've played the ones
I think
in the
you'll
past,
like
you'll
this one.
still like it. You may get annoyed at some of the things that they did, like I did, but I mean, you'll still play it. You're still gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten it yet. I may import it. I may wait. I don't know yet. We'll see. But, I mean, I definitely, from what you've said, there are some things that should be fixed, but at the same time, it still sounds like the good old hack and slash, maybe a little bit harder, but still fun.
It's still, I mean, I still played over, I mean, what is it? Almost 200 hours in it, so it wasn't like I just dropped it.
Yeah, you still play it. It's
it.
just a little easier to get frustrated with. But hey, if anyone's coming off of Dark Souls, I think they'll be okay. Yeah. I think they'll be able to handle it. But anyway, other than that, thanks for listening, everybody. Let us know I guess if you're watching this on YouTube, comments down below as to how you like the new setup, with the main podcast, the gaming, and the Gunpla, and all that, yada, yada, yada. If you're listening to this on iTunes or you downloaded it from Podomatic, there's really no way for you to tell us, so go check out the Minovsky Radio YouTube channel and then tell us on there. That'll be easier. Other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in and listening, and we'll talk to you later.